Here's some more journalists in the United States not screaming about this or even covering it. The Young Turks, they smeared Julian Assange plenty, and then they wouldn't cover this trial. And you know that Anna Kasparian gives tongue baths to war criminals at NATO conventions. They're always for more war at the Young Turks. They called it Nerf bombs when Trump bombed Syria. They wanted more. Every time it comes up, the Young Turks are for war, and I was always against it, and I was always right. Cenk was cheering on Libya. Down goes Gaddafi. You saw that. They were for bombing Syria. They were wrong in 2014. They were wrong again when Trump did it, and now they have to be. Watch this. This is them taking questions on a live chat, and watch what happens.
Super chats. Kimber Maddox says, free Assange. He's being tortured. You have more subscribers than any other progressive media outlet. Please cover his court hearings. I promise you we'll look into that.
We'll look into it. They had to be prompted by a viewer. Hey, why aren't you covering Julian Assange? I promise I'll look into it. The number one story in journalism in her lifetime. She's promising to look into it. That's kind of stunning. She's going to look into it any day now, by the way. Any day now. We're still waiting. So that was, I don't know, months ago? Still waiting. I guess they covered it today because people are calling them out on social media now for being completely corporate and MSNBC light. And so now I think they covered it today. But you want to see how they covered it before? Here's how they covered Julian Assange last year. So do you remember this story that Paul Manafort conspired with WikiLeaks? That Paul Manafort visited Julian Assange 3 times at the Ecuadorian embassy? But it was written by that guy, Luke Harding, who Aaron Matei outed already as a bullshitter, a garbage journalist who just does propaganda for the security surveillance state and the intelligence community. And it was clear. And he walked off his show, Luke Harding. And so we've made fun of Luke Harding, and everybody in the node has been doing it. But the Young Turks are Russiagators, right? So they repeat CIA talking points uncritically all the time for the last 4 years, constantly. And they're pro-war. They wanted more war. They're imperialists. They're wrong on Venezuela. They're wrong on Syria. They're wrong on Libya. They're wrong on Afghanistan. I know. So here's how they covered it. So this story, I'd already debunked the story in their own fucking newsroom when they're covering this. I'd already debunked this. This is a 100% garbage story. It's completely made up. And watch how they cover it.
There is more breaking news today. The Guardian has reported that Manafort allegedly held secret talks with Julian Assange on several different occasions.
Now, I reported that as breaking propaganda. That's not breaking news, Anna. That's breaking propaganda.
Manafort's first visit to the Ecuadorian embassy took place a year after Assange sought asylum inside, and that's according to 2 sources.
2 sources, but they don't tell you who the 2 sources are. Well, you know why? Because they don't exist. You know why? Because this didn't happen. That's why. There's no photos of it. It's the most surveilled building in the world. They had constant surveillance. It's been revealed that they had his bathroom, a camera in his bathroom. They had him constantly surveilled. There's no pictures of this happening. The Young Turks don't ask that question. Where are the photos? They don't. They just repeat CIA talking points uncritically, and they defend them. You want to see? Watch this. Well, they just did it, and now they're going to keep doing it.
Now, again, and this happens often with the media, a source will come forward, a whistleblower will come forward, but they wish to remain anonymous in order to avoid any type of retaliation.
She is now comparing CIA claptrap talking points to a whistleblower. And she's saying it's okay that they don't tell us who the sources are. It's bad about Julian Assange and Trump. Who cares? Who cares who the sources are? They're not skeptical at all. Watch this. Watch the next thing.
A separate internal document written by Ecuador's intelligence agency and seen by The Guardian lists Paul Manafort as one of several well-known guests. It also mentions Russians.
What? She repeats this uncritically. A separate internal document written by the Ecuador's CIA, somebody who is unnamed said they saw it. The Ecuadorian government, who, by the way, got co-opted by Goldman Sachs, we reported that. They got $500 million. We reported that what happened. There was a change in Ecuador's government, so now they want, and then the capitalists and the imperialists pressured Ecuador to give up Julian Assange, and that's what this is. So this is the Ecuadorian secret police working against Julian Assange, and then the Guardian making it up, and then TYT repeating it uncritically. A separate internal document written by a spy agency that is anti-Julian Assange, and seen by the Guardian. It lists Paul Manafort as one, and it even misspelled his name. And as one of the several well-known guests, it also mentions Russians. That was a laugh line when I read that on our show on Aggressive Progressives. It also mentions just Russians. It was all completely made up. 100%. That was unbelievably made up. And guess what? At the Aggressive Progressives, me, Steve O, and Malcolm knew it was made up. And that's how we reported it. Not like them. Gets worse. 5 weeks after the Guardian viral blockbuster Assange Manafort scoop, no evidence has emerged, just stonewalling.
For WikiLeaks, on its part, Julian Assange has completely denied meeting with Manafort, and he claims that this story is nothing more than a hoax.
Yeah, he says that the writer is a, quote, serial fabricator, and he's going to destroy the paper's reputation. So, well, obviously it's hard to tell who's telling the truth here.
Hard to tell who's telling the truth here. It's the most surveilled building in the world. There's no picture. You have no source. And this is Cenk doing more CIA propaganda against journalism. Straight up CIA repeating it uncritically about journalism. Why? Because he's triggered by Trump, or he's paid to do it, or both. Now, I know when they took that money from the Clinton donors, I was told by a TYT executive that we know we have to move towards the center. That's a quote. So is this part of their pivot towards the center? We have to smear Julian Assange? I think so. Watch this.
But lately, I have to confess that WikiLeaks has not had an astounding record.
Just so you know, WikiLeaks has an astounding record. Can you point to anything that they've ever had to retract, Cenk? Like this video that you have never retracted? No, you can't. They're an award-winning journalism organization. And Cenk Uygur just smeared them for no reason. So 5 weeks after the Guardian viral blockbuster Assange Manafort scoop, no evidence has emerged. 5 weeks. Did the Young Turks report that? No. Did they retract that story? No. Did they correct it? No. Did they apologize to Julian Assange? No. It gets worse. You think that's it? It's not it. It gets way worse. Watch this.
The way that Assange seems to be backing Donald Trump over and over and over again, it makes me very seriously question Assange's efforts to actually be a journalist and not.
It's amazing they're questioning Assange's journalism while breathlessly and uncritically repeating this bullshit journalism. Cenk is not impressed by WikiLeaks' record of publishing 0 false documents and never having to retract anything, and WikiLeaks has never published anything that is bullshit, unlike this article that Cenk is reporting breathlessly. If you're not impressed with WikiLeaks' record, Cenk, you need to reconsider how you keep score.
It makes me very seriously question Assange's efforts to actually be a journalist and not to be a partisan. And I get it. I get why he.
This guy is calling Julian Assange a partisan, and he should be more of a this guy who's never done journalism in his life. Has he ever gone out and reported on a story? He reads stories that guys like Lou Harding write, and then he repeats them uncritically. That's the garbage journalism he did. When I did that story, Iris did the same story, and we debunked it. That's what we do at the Aggressive Progressive. That's what we do at the Jimmy Dore Show. We debunk CIA talking points. Cenk Uygur repeats them while smearing the most famous and the most important journalists of our time. That's what the Young Turks are doing for journalism. Can you believe this? And I'm not supposed to question his motives? Everybody should question the Young Turks' motives. Everybody.
Hates the Democrats. They're trying to put him in prison. Okay.
Right. But
at the same time,
so are Republicans. Let's be clear about that.
And now the Republicans are too, and they have been in the past. But
so Cenk is literally making the case that Julian Assange is siding with Trump as Trump is trying to kill him. As Trump is trying to prosecute him and persecute him, Cenk is saying that Julian Assange is siding with them. And Anna points out, yeah, but the Republicans are also trying to kill him, not just the Democrats. Because that's what Cenk said. Well, he's siding with the Democrats because Hillary Clinton hated him. So does fucking Trump. They're all trying to kill him. This is, by the way, so that doesn't go, oh yeah, you're right. This is probably a garbage article. No, just keeps going.
It's like Assange just picked a side. And look, it makes me question his reporting. And so
the young Cenk Uygur is questioning Julian Assange's reporting, and he's saying Julian Assange has picked a side. Cenk Uygur has picked a side, and it is the side of the establishment and the Democratic Party. And that's why he's persecuting Julian Assange. That's who Cenk Uygur and the Young Turks are. That's who they are. He can't, look at that face, that fucking guy. The guy who took $24 million from Clinton donors and right-wingers and then does televangelist email fundraising. This guy, where did that money go? You're not independent media. You're a corporate media. This is unbelievable, huh, Steph?
Oh my God.
Did you not know?
Well, Jimmy, when it was interesting at the beginning when Anna says that she mentions how news reporters or sources want to be anonymous and whistleblowers just in case of retaliation. You mean just in case that they're imprisoned unjustifiably? That kind of retaliation? That doesn't mix into their thinking at all.
Here we go. Watch this. Watch this.
And so that's the situation we're in now. So now is he just leaking things that he gets, and no matter what, in which case I would respect that? Or is he selectively leaking based on his political motives? Now that suspicion is out there and it's real.
That's an accusation of the Clinton campaign, and Cenk is forwarding it. That's an accusation from Hillary Clinton, who calls everybody a Russian, and so does Cenk. With zero evidence, he's smearing a journalist who's currently being persecuted and prosecuted by the United States for revealing war crimes. That's unbelievable. And he's sitting there going, that guy's a liar, probably. If I did this would end my career. Now, this won't end his career because Cenk is more MSNBC than an actual progressive, and everyone sees it now. He's a phony. He's a poser. This is egregious. He should have to go away for months, for at least 6 months.
It's possible. Well, now I'm concerned that he can't be trusted.
He's concerned that Julian Assange can't be trusted. You want to watch that all together? Let's watch it all together.
The way that Assange seems to be backing Donald Trump over and over and over again, it makes me very seriously question Assange's efforts to actually be a journalist and not to be a partisan. And I get it. I get why he hates the Democrats. They're trying to put him in prison. Okay.
Right. But
at the same time,
so are Republicans. Let's be clear about that.
Now,
so that blows your theory out of the water. But as Cenk, the megalomaniac narcissist that he is, and I don't say that lightly, he has a personality disorder. He's a narcissist. He can never admit when he's wrong. When it matters, everyone who works at the Young Turks knows that. He'll never admit when he's wrong when it matters. Just like he never admitted, he's not going to admit he's wrong here. Watch this. Anna just says, yeah, the Republicans are. And he's just like, yeah, it doesn't fucking matter.
Republicans are too, and they have been in the past. But it seems like Assange just picked a side. And look, it makes me question his reporting. And so that's the situation we're in now. So now, is he just leaking things that he gets, and no matter what, in which case I would respect that? Or is he selectively leaking based on his political motives? Now that suspicion is out there and it's real and it's possible, well, now I'm concerned that it can't be trusted.
That's Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur, the Young Turks, the executive producers of the Young Turks.
Rebel headquarters.
Rebel headquarters. Sticking up for the CIA, the Clinton campaign, Donald Trump, and the intelligence community and imperialism to smear a journalist who exposed war crimes and who's been tortured for 10 years for it. That's his pressure campaign. That's what Cenk Uygur does. Now, is this part of their pivot to the center, as I was told to my face by a TYT executive, that when they took that $24 million, we know we have to go to the center, Jimmy? Is this part of that? Is he doing this for money? Looks like it. Does anybody believe that article? They never retract. So that article has been debunked by everybody and their brother. It's a ridiculous article. They've never retracted it. They've never corrected this. Shame on them. But they don't have any shame. That narcissist megalomaniacs don't have. He's like I said, he's the Glenn Beck of Sean Hannity's. He's got all the dishonesty of a Sean Hannity and all the theatrics of a Glenn Beck. So now you know what I mean. And now you know how hard it was for me to work at the Young Turks. They were doing red baiting constantly. They're doing Russiagating. They're repeating CIA talking points. They're telling everybody to vote for Hillary Clinton as she's some kind of savior, and Donald was the big problem. And then they just McCarthy smeared anybody who didn't. Me, I was debunking Syria. They did the same thing to me. They smeared me. Anna Kasparian smeared. I got Syria right. She got it wrong. She got Venezuela. So they're imperialists. That's why she interviews Madeleine Albright and said it's a great honor. That's what Anna does. That's why when I go to those conferences, I fucking cause a ruckus when I call out American imperialism and they kick me out of the conference. Did Anna get kicked out of the conference? No. She got paid to go give tongue baths to war criminals, and then she pro-war in Syria, pro-war in Libya, pro-war in Venezuela. That's who the Young Turks are. They're imperialists, corporate imperialists who smear Julian Assange and real journalists. They're not journalists. They'll never do journalism. Anna Kasparian said, I'll never go out out there. I look at you guys, because I look at Jordan at Standing Rock. It's too cold. I'm never doing that. And she never has. They don't do journalism. They're doing straight up propaganda. This is nothing but a fundraising organization. This is like televangelists now. Give us money and we'll help you get progressive goals, except when you can fight for forced to vote, but we won't do it then. But give us money. Julian Assange, they have a problem with. Madeleine Albright, it's a great honor to meet you. $24 million really screws you up. 24 corporate dollars from Clinton campaign donors really screws you up. Hey, everybody, this is the part where I tell you where all our live shows are, but there aren't any. And then this is why I tell you to join our premium program and get extra content, but nobody's got a fucking job. So just enjoy the video.